Your Excellency, the Governor of Punjab, distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen, great to be here in the desert of the plains, from the desert of the mountains that is Ladakh, and among educationists like all of you. I am here with my colleague, Ms. Gitanjali, and we hope to share a little bit of our learnings in how children learn. And I always feel that we need to learn before we start teaching, and we need to learn not from our curricula and textbooks of education, but also from the bigger picture of nature. I think nature often has much of the secrets and answers, but we often get too much into our man-made textbooks and philosophies. So, over the last 30 years or so, some learnings I got, I will share, and with some slides in the end. We forget that we are part of a much bigger picture than the age that we live in. We forget that we are designed or evolved over millions of years to become who we are, and what we are today is not just the making of few decades or few centuries, it's millions of years. And therefore I find it amusing when we see schools and educationists say, now we have the playway method for little children and for teenagers, experiential learning. I found it amusing when I was exploring and experimenting with various methods to see some educationists, celebrate that the playway is the best way and so on. And I was like, yes, but is it our invention or a discovery of something that has always been? Isn't play the software that nature packs in every baby that it brings to the world to learn? To learn. Play is nature's way of helping, facilitating learning. And it's not just in humans, it's everywhere. Look at kittens and puppies. What do they do as they are born and are of few weeks? Play is all they do. And play not for just play, play for learning. The mother cat teaches its kid what it will be doing for the rest of her life, which is catching mice. Play way, she uses her tail as what we now call teaching aid, and then she doesn't lecture the little kitten, spot the target, take position, pounce. She just shows her the target, makes her ready to take position and pounce, rather than making her memorize, spot the target, take position, pounce, spot the target, take position, pounce. If they started teaching the way we teach our children, I can guarantee you they'll catch no mice. They may pass all the exams. distinctions in exams. We need to learn from animals. That's how nature has, evolved animals, human beings. So that's how babies learn. And why not flow with the wave and use that great software and put our agenda in that flow? So we first kill all the play and then discover play way. Same with teenagers who are a little older. We kill their instincts and natural tendencies, put them in classrooms, which are like factories, to address the factories of the Industrial Revolution, make them sit still and read and write. And then we are surprised that they are restless. This energy, that evolution over millions of years has been packed into our teenagers, comes out in very negative ways, which we now call teenager rage rebellion. This is what I found, that children who are exposed to a lot of hard work, physical work, doing like in the mountains of Ladakh, do not know a phenomena like teenager problems. I never understood what teenager problems is until I saw in the city of Leh, as things changed over 3 decades, suddenly Ladakhi children started showing teenager problems, which was never a part of their life. And I used to think maybe it is something racial that we the Ladakhis don't have. So experiential teaching and learning, now the fad, again happens to be like playway. That is nature's way. Over 6 million or more years that we have evolved into becoming what we have been wired to learn that way. Another software of learning for millions of years has been that our young ones, over millions of years, have not sat still and listening to lectures. They have always gone out in the field, wild nature, risking their lives often. As hunter-gatherers, our young ones were doing that. As settled farmers for the last 10,000 years, our young ones were doing that, always physically occupied, mentally occupied in learning from others as they do, testing, trying, imitating, and slowly getting to it. So this is not some discovery or invention of some, IB or Cambridge, that experiential learning is some newfound thing. This is what nature has been around us for these many years, and we are wired to learn that way, and it's a crime to do it otherwise by making them sit in classrooms. This is what we observed in Ladakh, and we had high percentage of failure in Ladakh, like 95% used to fail in the 10th grade, 5% would pass, mainly because of cultural mismatch, and environmental mismatch to the plains where the textbooks came from and all the teachers came from, to a place that is so different. So we started working on teacher training, organizing people into committees to take care of schools and textbooks and so on. That brought the results to 70% pass. But for the 25% still failed, we started some special programs to see if they were really rejects or they were just normal. It turns out, from my experience, that in a system that is so unusual for our species or human beings to be in classrooms and lecture, actually those who do well are more unusual than those who don't do well in such a system, yeah? So, for those who still failed after all the reforms, the 25% or so, we created a special school, which we'll share with some examples towards the end. We created a school where the students' energy within would be put to use, channelized rather than stop it and start your own agenda, flow with their innate energy and make learning their agenda, their onus, rather than something the parents push them and the teachers pull them. No, how can we make it their, sync with their nature? So therefore, for those who were failures, we created a school where they would design the school and they would build the school. There goes their physical energy that nature has packed in them for such things. Now we are not hunting and gathering, so better we build the school ourselves. And then they run the school. The school is run by the students with governments that are elected, and they take responsibility of every system in the school. Now that engages all the energy and that opens up their natural ways of thinking and learning and applying, which gives them all the pleasure and pride. This engages young people much more than our lectures in closed classrooms, which is against nature. My hypothesis this is, and I find analogies from nature also for this, that evolution gives us all that we need, and not for an age, but for a species over the length of time. So the analogy I find in nature often, which is close and which is physically visible, is how rodents, mice and rat, you must have noticed that they chew on everything. They chew on doors, they chew on walls, wires, and I was wondering, why do they chew on wires and wood? Do they eat it? Turns out, no, they don't eat it. They have to chew on something just to keep their teeth from growing and outgrowing. So the beauty of nature and evolution is such that mice are blessed with this power to have their teeth growing at the same rate as it wears. So in the wild, they're eating rough nuts and things, and that would wear their teeth otherwise. So nature blesses them with a mechanism whereby their teeth grow at the rate of 2.8 millimeters per week, which is roughly 4 inches per year. Now that's what they have been doing for millions of years, and nature has synced with them and designed them for overcoming the loss. Now imagine some rat leader, mouse leader comes and says, all our worries are over. We don't have to chew on, eat these rough nuts. Over there behind the mountain, there is a butterland. And I'll lead you into that butterland, and our problems will be over forever. So the leader leads them into the butterland. In a cave there is butter, huge lot of butter. And the mouse colony goes there and happily eats the butter. Can you guess what would happen in a year? All dead. With 4 inches up, 4 inches down, they can't even open their mouths. Their teeth would behave the way nature had designed, and this butter turns out to be deadly for them. Similarly, as in mice, this visible feature we see, so in children, over millions of years, so much play, so much energy is packed. And if we lead them to this butterland of ready-made notes and lectures, that energy comes out for no better way of outlet than it comes out as breaking benches and glasses and what we call teenager rage and rebellion. So this is what I would say we need to address. We need to understand that experiential way of learning is nature's way of learning. It's not some invention if it happens, and we lost the way along the way somewhere. So at this point I request my colleague Ms. Gitanjali to share some slides about our little school where we experimented with these, and then now, inspired by the outcomes of this school, we are taking it further to higher education or university. But I'll share with you some examples of this kind of schooling, of the failures that we did. I just told you how we focused on a school that was for those who failed in the system, and some stars that I follow in young Ladakhis. This is Rigzin, Sewang Rigzin, popularly known as, can we go next? Is it working? This is Stanzin, and it's not working? Yeah, this is Tinless. So Sewang became the minister or executive councillor for education in Ladakh at 27. Yeah? Can we go to the next? And Stanzin became a filmmaker of international fame. He has been winning awards across continents. And Tinless is a social entrepreneur celebrated internationally. The common thing among them is not that they have had the brightest of and the best of schooling, but that they have failed and failed repeatedly, one 5 times, the other 4 times and 3 times. They all came as, down and depressed souls to this school that we set up for those who fail in the system. And then, more often than not, they do much better than those who didn't fail. Often those who have topped the classrooms come to see this school and say, I wish I had failed. So that is sinking learning to their nature, their innate nature. Yeah, here I will request Ms. Gitanjali, who heads the university project at our project in Ladakh, to take it further with some slides. Thank you.